good afternoon. It's great to be with you. Who is ready for some science fun? Who is ready to find out which of these items, I say which of these items contains starch? I know, it sounds a little serious, but it's not that serious. It's fun. It's going to be great. We're going to do a little color change. We're going to do a little indicator reaction. I like doing indicator reactions because that's really what got me into science, is doing indicator reactions, is getting a chance to see. I know you see me there kind of playing with my hair. It's getting a chance to see what happens when one chemical reacts to another chemical, and that lets me know, it indicates what's going on, what's inside of a compound. All right, so for those of you who are not aware, my name is Miss Steph. I am the founder and executive director, yada, 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 of Triple F Empowerment Inc. Triple F Empowerment Inc. is a Harlem-based nonprofit bringing fun STEAM education to you, alrighty then, on various platforms. Facebook, and right now. So today, like I said, we're going to have some science fun like we have every time. Hello, let's be clear. And thank you so much for joining me. I see you. I see y'all. Okay. Hello. Ow. We're going to find out which of these items, and I'll show you the items momentarily, which of these items contains starch. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what starch is, just a real simple definition of starch. And then I'll talk to you a little bit about my indicator. Can you say indicator? Come on, people, say indicator. An indicator is a chemical that scientists use to indicate, to let me know that something specific is happening. So we use indicators when we're looking for pH, and we use indicators to test for other things. Okay, so we're doing a very, very simple assay today. Yes, I know I'm flexing and throwing out all these like fancy science words today, but frankly, you can handle it. You are a scientist, so you can understand and flex with these fabulous fancy science words with me. Alrighty then, so I have some iodine. Yes, the brown stuff that sometimes you put on a cut, or that they use in the hospital to sanitize an area, to clean an area out. This stuff here will help us determine if our samples, okay, our fancy chemistry word for the stuff we're going to test, okay, if our samples have starch inside of them. Now, starch is a food. It's contained inside of different foods, actually quite a few foods, okay? And starch gets broken down into pieces. Think of starch as links, okay? Linked sugar. And the starch gets broken down into its smaller pieces, which is sugar, okay? And then our body uses that for energy. All right, so when I'm talking about food, scientifically speaking, chemically speaking, I'm talking about something that the body can use for energy to help it go, okay? We run off of chemical energy. Now, sometimes people say chemicals are bad for you. Well, guess what? Everything you put in your mouth, including water, is a chemical. It's more about whether it is a synthetic chemical, right? A man-made chemical, or a chemical that is harmful to you versus naturally occurring, right? So that's not what I'm talking about when I'm saying chemical. I'm talking about just straight up the components, right, of what we eat. Humans run off of chemical energy, okay? Whether it's good or bad and all that kind of stuff, not what I'm talking about. All right. So we together are going to test and find out which of our samples contains this specific chemical called starch, right? The linked up sugar. Yeah, that's my simple definition for you, the linked up sugar. Okay. And we're going to see that. Now, you might be wondering, but Steph, How in the world? I say how. Everybody say how. You say it with me. Say how. Are we going to find out using iodine that these chemicals, these samples contain starch? Well, guess what? The iodine, when we drop it on top, is going to change color. You say what? I say what? The iodine, as soon as it makes contact with starch, changes from its brownish color to a very dark, very actually quite beautiful bluish purple situation. And so that change will indicate, will tell us that starch is contained inside. Now, you may also be thinking to yourself, but Ms. Steph, what kind of control can we use? Don't we always use like a base sample? Yes, we do. We are using something that we know for a fact has starch in it. Can anyone think of one of the materials that we use here on Saturday Science with Ms. Steph frequently? There's a material that we use a lot. We use it for oobleck, silly putty. We've even used it for a couple of our simple Play-Doh recipes. We've used it for finger paint. Folks, I am talking about cornstarch. We could use cornstarch as our control sample. Oh, cool. Let's look at, before we do our test samples, right? Let's look at things that we know should react a specific kind of way, right? Don't we know that water is just water? Yes, it is a chemical, but it does not contain starch. It shouldn't. Hello. And then we know that our cornstarch, it's in the name, our cornstarch definitely contains. So we know that something without starch should react the way that our water does, and something with starch should react the way that the cornstarch does. So I'm going to do, let's do 3. We're going to plan to do 3 drops of iodine inside of each sample. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's hold up that water for you so you can see, right? It's still its same color. It's a little diluted because it's in water, but it hasn't changed color. Right now, I'm showing you what the cornstarch looks like. Let's add our 3 drops of iodine inside of our cornstarch and find out if anything happens. 1, 2, 3. Now, you should have been able to see that change. The cornstarch turns turns the iodine a very, very dark. You see how dark that blue is? It's beautiful dark blue. Beautiful dark blue. Okay? And so things with starch will react with the iodine and we'll get this very, very dark blue. All right? So we're going to do paper first. I've got my paper sample. Notice I have things labeled. Okay? So I have paper, bread, and glue. I'm doing glue and paper because these are things that we frequently use right here for our science activities. And so these are common items to you. You can test other items in your household if you want. 1, 2, 3. Did y'all see that? It went from a brown to this blue, this dark blue color. Let's see. 1, see it's still brown. 2, 3, to our blue color. It's taking a little while to react. It takes a little bit longer to react to the bread because bread contains lots of different food compounds in it. Okay, things that but as you see, is it's getting a chance to react to the starch that is in bread. Bread does contain starch. Like I said, it contains other things, but it does contain some starch. And so it's turning, okay, from what was brown to now this dark blue. All right. Now, just for fun's sake, we use glue here on a regular basis. So let's test and find out if glue has enough starch in it that it will react and turn blue. Right? 3 drops. It's sitting there for a little while. And now you can really compare, right? A lot of times in science, comparison really helps you out, right? So you may not have known that this was blue just by looking at it by itself, but now comparing it and seeing what it looks like, side by side with, right? Side by side, there's our paper that has turned dark blue, okay? And here's our glue that has remained the same color. So clearly there's not enough starch in glue that can react to the iodine. Okay, and clearly there's plenty of starch inside of paper. What are some other things that you could try at home that would be safe for you to interact with, that you could add your iodine to, just a couple of drops, and see whether or not it contains starch? Yeah, contains that type of compound, that linked together sugar. Okay, and again, that's our simplified version of what starch is. Okay. We decided that we wanted to know what food things, or what common things you have at home that contain something called starch, which is just a type of chemical compound. Okay. And starch specifically is something that we as humans ingest. Okay. And we use it for energy. Our body breaks it down from linked together into little pieces of sugar. All right. Now, what contains that? How can I test that? How do food chemists, that is a job that someone does that you all could do if you wanted to. How does a food chemist test that? One of the ways, there are many ways, but one of the ways that you can try it and do a quick little on the spot test at home is by dropping some iodine on it. It does have to be the iodine that's brown, because that's a specific type of chemical. And this is literally the stuff that I got from CVS. You don't know how I feel about CVS or any type of just, run-of-the-mill pharmacy. All right. I grabbed that. And then we did 3 drops. And we did our control samples, a sample that we knew had no starch and a sample that we knew had plenty of starch in it. Water, no starch, absolutely no starch whatsoever. Cornstarch. Starch is in the name. Okay. Light brown, dark blue. So we knew what to look for. And then we tested 3 samples. Like I said, you can try other samples at home. So we tested some paper. Bread. No, you are not to eat the bread after putting the iodine on it. Don't do that. Okay. And then some glue, just for fun, because we do use glue a lot here. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to send me a message at mssteph@tfempowerment.org. Okay, you can send me a little email. Or if you're wondering about how to get involved and what's this mock speed campaign and all that kind of stuff that I've got going on, please check us out at www.tfempowerment.org. thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a great time, and I look forward to making some more science fun with you on Wednesday at 2:30-ish. All right? I do hope that I'll be able to do Wednesday's session on Wednesday, but if not, we'll move it to Thursday if my special materials don't come in until a certain time, because I have a little sweet, little sweet supply that's coming in to help us with our next activity. Have an absolutely awesome day, and I'll see you next time. All right? Have a great day, y'all.